good for anyone.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Do it again. I wasn't looking.
Usually whenever I start these videos, I open with a brief introduction to the main focal point of whatever or whomever it is I'm talking about. But there really isn't a lot to describe in this introduction, so I'm not going to waste too much of your time here. All you need to know going into this video is that one part of you is going to think that this is one of the coolest spots in the history of wrestling, and the other part of you, your common sense, is going to realize that this is one of the most reckless and dangerous spots a human being can ever conceive with their own mind. And it'll leave you wondering how such a spot could even take place to begin with. With that being said, if you do enjoy this video and you want to see more videos about the random stuff that comes to my brain in regards to pro wrestling, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. With that being said, let's get right into it. Meet Spiral BKNY. He wrestled throughout the independent wrestling scene during most of the 2000s, most notably in promotions such as the NWA, OVW where he was trained, and CZW, where the incident detailed in this video took place. Spiral would be well known throughout the indies due to his flashy and seemingly over-innovative style. Prior to my knowledge about the incident in question, I admittedly did not know very much about Spiral, but upon a bit of my own research, he reminds me of Teddy Hart a little bit in terms of the in-ring work from what I've seen. A lot of things that I've seen in highlight reels of his are things that I would see more of during the late 2010s and early 2020s throughout each level of pro wrestling, mainstream or independent. Whether you like him or not, you cannot deny that at least some of his fingerprints remain on parts of this industry. Meet Mike Sidel. A 16-year veteran, Sidel has been a journeyman throughout his entire career, performing in virtually every larger scale wrestling company in the US. That list includes Ring of Honor, TNA, WWE as an extra, and AEW throughout the majority of 2021. If you are wondering why the Sidel name sounds so familiar, that's because his brother is known by his longtime ring name, Matt Sidel, who was also formerly known as Evan Bourne during his tenure in WWE. During his career, Sidel has worked various independent promotions such as IWA Mid-South, Ian Rotten, Chikara, and CZW. He's a very solid hand in any locker room you put him in, and I've only heard good things from other wrestlers about him. Both of these men would meet in the ring at the Tangled Web event for CZW on August 8th, 2009 at the now named 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. This event is probably most known for being the night that CZW's founder, John Zandig, would announce the sale of the company to the man who runs it to this very day, DJ Hyde. The show would open with an 8-man aerial assault match featuring Spiral and Sidel, as well as B-Boy, Deon Moore, Facade, Ryan McBride, Greg Excellent, and a very young Rich Swann. While the match itself is a very fun opener, and I do recommend it to anyone who has 20 minutes to spare, I'm not going to be covering the whole match like I did with Cage of Death because that's not why we're here. We're here for a specific spot in this match, and I'm going to show you right now.
Pain. This can't be good for anyone.
As you can see, Spiral has Sidel in a pile driver position on the top rope and would deliver a backflip Styles Clash, which is something I would have never imagined was even conceivable. You could see Sidel's skull ricochet, no, not like ricochet, off of the canvas and his body just lying there limp. He was supposed to kick out of this move when Spiral rolled him over, but he was just on another planet. So referee Brett Lauderdale, yes, the same Brett Lauderdale that founded GCW, had to forcibly stop the count because Sidel was not moving a muscle. In case you were wondering, this is how a Styles Clash is supposed to look. You get your opponent set up in a pile driver position, lock the opponent's arms in between your legs, and fall forwards while your opponent has to make sure he does not tuck his head in. The move was popularized by AJ Styles, and the name of the move was obviously coined after him. Like a lot of moves in wrestling, it seems like a very easy move to execute, but there's serious potential for long-term damage if both sides don't communicate on that move properly. Some examples include when the move was performed on Stevie Richards on an episode of Impact in 2010, but thankfully he ended up alright. Also in 2014, when the move was performed on Lionheart, who is a UK wrestler who has since passed away unrelated to this, he unfortunately broke his neck, and during 2016's episode of SmackDown, when Styles performed the move on James Ellsworth tucked his head inwards, and Styles luckily was able to alter his landing to avoid any serious damage given to Ellsworth. The move had such a slim margin of error when performed normally by one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time. But just imagine how much more dangerous it is when it's performed while the person giving the move is performing a fucking moonsault during its execution. It would be one thing too if both guys agreed to do the move, because at that point it would just be a very stupid spot and very bad judgment from both wrestlers and an experience that they would hopefully learn from, and it would never be replicated. That would be the good ending. although we all know that's not the case. Deon Moore, who was a participant in that match mentioned earlier, said during a shoot interview that Sidel was screaming, "No, no, no," before Spiral jumped off the top rope.
Spiral, you fucking retard. Hurting Mike Sidel like that. I was underneath him. He said no, no, no. What'd your fucking dumbass do? Do a moonsault styles clash and almost kill the fucking kid. Way to go, you dumb fuck.
I may be wrong, but I think I can kind of hear Sidel screaming no while getting into position. It's very faint, but I can hear something.
Pain. This can't be good for anyone.
Matt Sidel would later talk about the incident in a shoot interview after watching it happen for the first time years later, and he said that Mike suffered from a concussion and a broken thumb as a result of this.
Like, if you guys know what happened to Mike after that, like a concussion like that and it broke his thumb, it was horrific. Who thinks of a move where you trap the guy's arms like this and then do a moonsault? It's so ignorant.
While I would not personally use the same verbiage that Deon Moore used to describe it,
You fucking retard.
I absolutely agree with this sentiment. What the fuck was Spiral thinking trying to move like that? As I mentioned earlier, a Styles Clash is dangerous enough when it's executed properly. The way Spiral executed it on Sidel made it so he basically catapulted Sidel into the canvas face first, with no way of protecting his head by using his arms or anything of that nature. Spiral violated that trust in so many ways. Like I said in the introduction, on the surface it seems like the coolest shit ever, but in reality it's fucking dumb and reckless, and it should have never been done in a million years. Simon Gotch, a 23-year veteran, would mention in a tweet how Spiral asked Sidel about doing the Styles Clash off the top rope, but never mentioned doing the backflip. Gotch would add that on top of the concussion, Sidel would suffer a seizure in the locker room as well as a broken wrist, and that Sidel was at 6 to 8 months. However, Sidel would go on to wrestle the very next weekend independent show, so that information might be a little bit spotty, but some also would align with what Matt said in the shoot interview, so take it with a grain of salt. Matt would end up making a full recovery, and it seemingly did not affect his career. Like I said before, he would make some appearances for WWE in 2018 and 2019 as an extra, and would wrestle for AEW for the majority of 2021, tagging with his brother Matt for most of it. His in-ring career seems to have slowed down a lot, as he's only wrestled a handful of matches since 2022, but he is 40 years old after all, so it does make sense. Spiral would wrestle until 2011 after this incident, until he became paralyzed after attempting a 630 leg drop. A 630 alone is such a crazy move to attempt, but with that much momentum just to land on your ass, or even worse, your neck if it goes wrong, is so scary. Unfortunately, he would become a quadriplegic following this and would pass away in 2017 at the age of 36. I could not find a cause of death, but if anyone does know the cause for whatever reason, feel free to let me know, just out of genuine curiosity. But yeah, that was Spiral, Mike Sidel, and the most reckless move in wrestling history. What do you think? Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you thought about this video, as I look for all feedback, positive or negative. If you did enjoy this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you do not miss out on any future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.